السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. مرحبا بكم مجددا في قناتي وقناتكم ABC Let's Learn English. فما تنسوش أنكم تدعموني بواحد اللايك واشتراك إلا عجبكم الفيديو. فبما أننا على وشك البدء في اجتياز الامتحانات الإشهادية، فاليوم غادي نصحح معكم واحد النموذج ديال امتحانات اللغة الإنجليزية الخاص بشعبة الآداب والعلوم الإنسانية مسلك آداب. ولكن قبل ما نبدأ كنتمنى التوفيق والنجاح لجميع التلميذات والتلاميذ إن شاء الله تعالى. Jane Goodall was born in London in 1934. As a child, Jane loved observing animals. يعني كيعجبها أنها تبقى تراقب الحيوانات. In her free time هو وقت الفراغ. She liked to write observations about them. Observations هما الملاحظات. Her favorite books were about zoology. zoology هو العلم ديال الحيوانات. She dreamed of traveling to Africa to observe the animals in their natural habitats. After graduating in 1932, she first worked as a secretary at Oxford University, and then as a part-timer at a documentary film company to finance her incoming trip to Africa. In July 1960, Jane arrived with her mother at the Gombe National Park in Tanzania. She had brought a tent هي الخيمة, a cap, and a pair of binoculars. Binoculars هو المنظار. Around 5 p.m. on the day of her arrival, somebody reported that they had seen a chimpanzee. يعني شي حد وصل لهم بأنه رأى واحد الشمبانزي. Straight away, Jane set off into the forest to meet her first chimpanzee. يعني set off هي انطلقت باش تتلاقى بأول شمبانزي in her life. As a young woman, Jane had no scientific qualifications, but this didn't stop her from following her childhood dream of studying chimpanzees in Africa. She went to study the animals and find out how they really lived. After months of difficult work, she made important discoveries. Chimpanzees eat meat and use tools to get food. يعني الخلاصة اللي استنتجتها أن القردة ديال الشمبانزي eat meat تأكل اللحوم and use tools to get food وكتستعمل الأدوات باش تحصل على الطعام ديالها. They even make their own tools حتى أنهم كيصنعوا الأدوات الخاصة بهم. They can learn and use sign language. يمكن لهم يستعملوا الإشارة الخاصة بهم sign language لغة الإشارة. But compared to humans, even the brightest chimp looks like a very small child, she said. ولكن بالمقارنة مع الإنسان فيعني أذكى الشمبانزي كيبان بأنه بحال واحد طفل صغير. Every evening, Jane wrote her findings in a diary. Later, she began to publish articles in journals such as National Geographic magazines. After a while, scientists and academics started reading her studies. Jane got a place at university and got her PhD in 1966. Before that, she featured in a documentary film called Miss Goodall and the Wild Chimpanzee. In 1969, she published the first of many books called my friends the wild chimpanzees. In the 1980s, the human population in the region of Gombe was increasing. يعني العدد ديال السكان بدا ترتفع. Which caused deforestation. Deforestation هي العملية نتاع إزالة الغابات. Consequently, there were only about 100 chimpanzees living in the area. By the end of the decade هي 10 سنوات, 10 years, Jane realized that something had to be done so that chimpanzees and humans could live together. So she helps the local community to grow more trees in the region. After 1989, Jane left her career in Gombe in order to do other work. She started traveling and giving lectures. She protested about the cruel use of chimpanzees in scientific experiments. She also set up shelters for chimps which had been captured or were orphans because of the trade in chimpanzee meat. In 2002, she became a UN messenger of peace. Nowadays, she spends about 300 days a year giving interviews, talks, and lectures, meeting with government officials and raising money for the Jane Goodall Institute, which continue her research. She has very little free time left, but she still goes every year to the forest in Gombe to watch chimpanzees. So let's begin the first question. Comprehension. A. Are these sentences true or false and justify؟ يعني هاد الجمل هادو واش صحيحة true or false ولا خاطئين and of course we have to justify. يعني غادي نعللو الجواب ديالنا. هنا عندنا base all your answers on the text. يعني غادي نجاوبو من خلال text. Number 1. Jane went to Tanzania alone. Jane مشات لتنزانيا يعني بمفردها بوحدها. So of course the answer is false. I have to write false first. Then I have to justify. Jane went to Tanzania with her mother. يعني مشات مع الأم ديالها. Number 2. Jane was against using chimpanzees in scientific research. يعني كانت ضد الاستعمال ديال chimpanzees في البحوث العلمية. بطبيعة الحال the answer is true. And to justify from the text I have here she protested about the cruel use of chimpanzees in scientific experiments. هذا هو التعليل اللي غادي نستعمله. She protested about the cruel use of chimpanzees in scientific experiments. ندوزو number 3. Jane has never returned to Gombe since she left in 1989. Jane has never returned to Gombe since she left in 1989. So, of course, the answer is false. And to justify my answer, she still goes every year to the forest in Gombe to watch chimpanzees. هذا هو التعليل ديالنا. She still goes every year to the forest in Gombe to watch chimpanzees. Exercise B. Answer the following questions. What was Jane interested in when she was a child? يعني اشنو الشيء اللي كانت جين مهتمة به when she was a child؟ فاش كانت واحد طفلة صغيرة. So Jane، يمكننا نبداو الجواب ديالنا بحال هذا الشكل هكا. Jane was interested in observing animals. So Jane was interested in observing animals. Number 2. Give 2 things Jane found out about chimpanzees. يعني غادي نستخرجوا جوج ديال الاشياء اللي استكشفتهم جين عن الشمبانزيز. هنا يمكن نرجعوا للتكست نستخرجوا اشنا هما جوج ديال الاشياء اللي هما for example chimpanzees eat meat، يعني تيقدروا انهم ياكلوا اللحوم they eat meat، and use tools كيستخدموا الادوات to get food. They can also make their own tools. They can learn and use sign language. يعني يمكننا نختاروا فقط جوج من هاد الاختيارات اللي عندنا ولا الأجوبة اللي عندنا هنايا. عندي هنايا 4، يمكننا نختاروا فقط جوج. Number 3. Why did the number of chimpanzees decrease in Gombe؟ يعني علاش الأعداد ديال الشمبانزيز بدات كتناقص in Gombe؟ هنا يمكن لي نجاوب بجوج ديال الأجوبة. يمكن لي نقول because of deforestation يعني القطع ديال الأشجار، ولا of course the human population increased. The human population increased يعني ارتفاع ديال العدد ديال السكان. C. Complete the following sentences. هنا عطينا 3 ديال الجمل، عطينا البدايات ديالهم، غادي خصنا نكملوا الجمل من خلال التكست. So number 1. To finance her trip to Africa، يعني باش تمول الرحلة ديال أفريقيا أشنو دات جين؟ So Jane worked as a secretary or as a part-timer at a company. At a documentary film company. Number 2. To solve the problem of deforestation, Jane helped the local community to grow more trees in the region. Helped the local community to grow more trees in the region يعني ساعدتهم أنهم يزرعوا الأكبر عدد من الأشجار في هذا الريجن هذه. Number 3. Jane helped chimpanzees which lost their mothers by باش ساعدتهم هنايا of course by stirring up shillers. stirring up shillers يعني ملجأ ولا ملاجئ. اوكي دابا غادي نمروا exercise D. fill in the chart with information from the text. يعني عندنا واحد الجدول هنايا اللي عندنا فيه dates and what they refer to. For example, in 1982 Jane's graduation from school. In 1960 غادي نمشيو نشوفو 1960. So in 1960 Jane arrived with her mother at the Gombe National Park in Tanzania. غادي يكون هذا هو الجواب ديالنا. Jane arrived with her mother at the Gombe National Park in Tanzania. نشوفوا التاريخ الثالث 1969. In 1969. What is 1969? So she published the first of many books called My Friends the Wild Chimpanzees. يعني هذا هو الجواب ديالنا. She published the first of many books called My Friends the Wild Chimpanzees. الآن نمروا exercise F. So let's read. What do the underlined words in the text refer to? في التكست عطلنا بعض الكلمات اللي تحت منهم واحد السطر. غادي نشوفوا هاد الكلمات هادو them and the area على من كيعودوا. نشوفوا الكلمة اللي هي them. So in her free time she likes to write observations about them. شكون هما هادو؟ هما animals. So the word them refers to animals. Number 2, the area. The area, it refers to, we have it here in paragraph number 5. Okay, so it refers to Gombe or the region of Gombe. The region of Gombe.